brethren and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me all right there? Yeah? First of all, thank you very much for the invitation to come to Tobermore. And I want to pass on in particular my thanks to you, Brother David Johnson, the Worship District Master. I have to say that the town is really beautifully decorated. Tobermore's a lovely setting. It's a nice town to walk up through. It's a very nice setting with the field here with the background, the spurrings and everything. Not maybe just as, I know it's very beautiful, Brother Johnson. I was at an unfurling of a banner last Saturday night, a place called Cranfield in County Down. And in Cranfield Orange Hall, it sits on top of a little hill, maybe just 70 feet above sea level. And you look at the front, you're looking out at the Irish Sea, which is good enough. And you look at the side, and you're looking out at the Mourne Mountains, which is nice. And you look at the back, the view's just spectacular. Just looking right up Carringford Lough and the mountains that lie to the far side. And I think it must be one of the most nicely situated orange halls we've been in. First of all, our brother chairman, I'd like to bring fraternal greetings from Grand Orange Lodge of Ireland, but also from my own county, County Down, Grand Orange Lodge. My own district in Lower Eye Bay, which is around Dromore and Dromara and County Down, and my own private lodge. Our demonstration today is in Urich. It's not an easy place to have a demonstration. We're pretty much marginalised. We get down through part of the centre of the town. In truth, we're maybe as far as we want to go to tell you the truth, but we get down around the town hall and back up, and we'll have a happier day, think just staying at the wrong end of the town now. I was glad to hear that Brother the Reverend Stewart mentioned about the figures of the Protestant community in the Republic. About 6 weeks ago, I was down at the unfurling of a banner in Monaghan. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the institution in the Republic, but we've got about 50 lodges. We're organised as lodges in 5 different counties: Cavan, Monaghan, Donegal, Leitrim, and 1 lodge in Dublin. And we'll have members then in about another 5 or 6 counties, Limerick and Cork, and some around the centre of Ireland. They're mainly members in the Dublin lodge. But this year we've had, in the institution, we've had about 25 banner unfurlings this year. Monaghan struck me as being a bit different. And that was the only one that took place indoors. The purpose of having a banner is to let people see our message. It's a very important part of our message. The message about the civil and religious liberty that's epitomised by King William on one side, the biblical message of the Reformed faith, which is our most banners, on the other side. But in County Monaghan, we weren't able to portray that message in public in Monaghan. And the reason is because it's pretty well unthinkable for them to be able to parade in a town in the Republic. Even in these days when, society's supposed to have moved on, much more tolerant. In the Republic of Ireland, almost all of our parades, maybe 1 in Raphoe or 2, almost every parade we have is pushed to the margins of society. Even our big day at Rosnowla, their big day. I said our big day. It is our big day too, but for our members in the Republic, that's their big main day. Even their biggest parade of the year is out in a very rural area. And so that begs the question, why is that happening? Why is it that Southern society can't contemplate a parade in Monaghan or Cavan Town or Ballybay or all of the places we used to have parades? Why is it so unthinkable? When I mentioned last week in the Republic about the possibility of a parade in Dublin, why is that so unthinkable? Why is it? It's a question really for Southern society. As I did the radio programmes in the South last week, I said, this is not a question for the Garda to force us through the streets of Dublin. It's not an issue for the authorities in the Republic to give permission to that parade. This is a challenge for Southern society. I hear them often as I take part in debates talking about how their flag is green, white and orange. Many, a lot of them still say green, white and gold if you're really catching them off guard. But when they want to make a point, they say it's green, white and orange. But is that orange part welcome? That's what they have to think about, and that's the challenge for Southern society. We've got several hundred members in the Republic. Are they welcome to have a parade in Dublin? To be accepted in Southern society? Or is it still going to be, yes, we've got orange in our flag, but that's as far as we want it. We don't want you in the streets of Dublin or Ballybay or Monaghan or Cavan. Stay out in the country, stay away out of the road for us in Ireland. Brother Gareth mentioned about the numbers in 1911, 101 years ago. The Roman Catholic minority community in County Antrim was about 20%. The Protestant minority community in Cavan, Monaghan and Donegal was about 20%. They were precisely the same. Within 1% they were the same. But go forward then, after 50 years, 40 years of Unionist rule in Northern Ireland, come to 1961, and the Roman Catholic minority had increased to 24% in County Antrim. But after 40 years of Republican government in the south of Ireland, what had happened to the Protestant community? It had decreased to about 12, 13, 14% in those packets. Now that begs the question, which I asked in Dublin last week, put on the record, who treated their minority better? We know we've lost the propaganda war, that the whole world out there believes that there was 50 years of Union's misrule and Roman Catholics were put down, kept down, didn't get their fair share of anything. But I honestly don't think that the statistics show that. I think they show the opposite. One of our chaplains in the Republic is Brother the Reverend John Dean, Church of Ireland minister in South Donegal. Donegal man, born and bred. Used to work in McGee's shop in the Diamond, went into the ministry late in life. And as part of his studies for the ministry, one of his projects, he did a study of 100 children who were born and were baptised in his parish between about 1911 through to 1921 or a wee bit later. Whatever number of years around that time filled 100. And got 100 children baptised. And those 100 children, only about 2 or 3 remained in that parish. The rest left. The vast handful, 5 or 6, went to other places in the Republic, but 90% of them left the Republic of Ireland, young Protestants, or with their families. And why did they leave? John says they left because of, the word he describes it as is fear. He said these people left because they were afraid for their future in the Republic. I want to mention one thing particularly about what I think that community's been left behind, Rennie is down in Cash, the banner thing last week. No, nobody there. 1 or 2. Did you get a chance to go in the Young Farmers Hall? Right, there was a great display in the Young Farmers Hall. I would recommend this to any of your districts or your lodges that's having an open night for to get this display up. County Donegal Grand Orange Lodge. The Orange Men in Donegal. They've got an exhibition. They've got 3 or 4 copies of it, so it can tour around different halls. And it was in Cash last week, and I went in to see it. And that exhibition, and this is their view, they designed it, got it printed up, fits in the hall nicely, it's very good. Some really interesting historic artefacts on it, like a list of the Unionist Club members in Ballyshannon, and many of them went to the war and were killed. Really interesting. When I say a list, like it's an original handwritten document from the period. They call that exhibition the Broken Covenant, because although it's very easy for us to say up here, the Ulster Covenant's part of the title deeds for Northern Ireland. 470 odd thousand people signed it just mainly in one day, and some within a day or two afterwards. An unbelievable feat of organisation. And many people signed that covenant in Donegal and Cavan and Monaghan because it was the Ulster Solemn League Covenant. And they went further. Those people helped with the distribution of weapons that were imported to the UVF, the formed UVF units. And come forward then, the war, came to the war, lots of them went to the war, some came back. In 1921, 1922, those people were abandoned. Now can you imagine their feet? I know what the difficulties are, I've lived through these troubles, and the difficulties in this area. My own second cousin was murdered not a million miles from here in this county, a part-time reserve policeman. But can you imagine how those people felt, the Protestant community in Cavan, Donegal, after partition? No army left to support them, protect them. A police force that was distrustful of them. Many of them had signed the Ulster Solemn League and Covenant, put pen to paper, saying they would take whatever action was necessary to stick together with everyone else who signed the Province of Ulster, and then suddenly they're abandoned, no protection, a state that is more than suspicious of them, a state that frankly persecuted them for some time. And so I think it's worth remembering them, and I honestly think, personally I think as an institution, we've got a bit of a debt to those people. And in particular our members, the few hundred, several hundred who have remained in the 50 or so lodges down there, who have been afraid for many years to put their head above the parapet but are now doing so. Now one of the issues that I feel strongly about, where they've been left behind yet again, 10 or 12 years ago when we had this Good Friday Agreement and all the negotiations about it, there were lots of things fed into the system. And one of the things that was fed into the system is the issue of passports and people's ability to get passports. Now, in Northern Ireland, I accept fully, after the partition, Northern Ireland, nationalist community who were on this side of the border felt cut off from where they wanted to be, just as our people felt cut off from where they wanted to be, the southern side. But what has happened now, as time has rolled on, the nationalist grievances, and they would say there are many, there seem to be no end of nationalist grievances, and mind you, I don't know that they could ever be satisfied. But what the situation now in Northern Ireland in relation to the passport issue is that anyone born in Northern Ireland can go into a passport, into a main post office and ask for a passport application form, you'll be asked Irish or British. They are in complete power for getting passports. It's in our system, the forms are there in the post offices, they can get them processed very quickly. But what about the unionist people, the people with a British background, people who regard themselves British? Don't know how many have been in Orange Halls in the Republic. You go into an Orange Hall in the Republic, the Queen will be on the wall, quite often the Union Jack on the wall as well. Those people are as British, in my opinion, as we are. They certainly feel as British we are. But unfortunately, and more than unfortunately, it's not acceptable. They cannot now get a British passport. The laws have changed over the years. From about 1949 there was a major change in the law, and since then, if your parents are born in the Republic after 1949, and you're born after 1949, but if you're both your parents born after 1949, it's almost impossible to get a British passport. Now, to me that's not right. To me there has not been an equality of treatment here between the minority community in Northern Ireland who have had this issue addressed and the minority British community in the Republic of Ireland. And I'm calling today to the British government to address this issue. If they want to improve the relationships between the people in these islands, I don't just talk about this island, because to me it's very important, the East-West relationship, more important to me than the North-South relationship. But if they want to bring some sort of normalisation of relationships within the people of these islands, then they have to address that issue. Why should our people in the Republic not have the same right to a British passport as nationalist people of Northern Ireland have to an Irish passport? Brother Chairman have talked about the challenges which I have laid down to the Irish people about parades and about the place of Protestant people, Orange people, that part of the Protestant community that is affiliated to our institutions, mainly in the border counties, about their place in Irish society. There's a big challenge there. There's also challenges for this institution. Challenges about our relationship with political parties, our relationship with the churches. I had a chat with Brother Andrews about that earlier today. Our relationship with our nationalist neighbours, our relationship with people who don't want our parades, our relationship with the broader Protestant community who are not members of the institution. And to me, one of the big, perhaps it covers a number of things, but the key word for me is relevant. How does this institution stay relevant to our community, to the next generation that's coming on that we want to join our institution? How do we stay relevant to them? And to me, that's an absolutely massive challenge. And it's something everybody out there needs to think about, but particularly the people standing behind me in this platform, the people who are in leadership positions. That's who mainly needs to think about it. How do we make sure that we keep our lodges attractive enough that young men want to join them? What's our relationship with bands? Could it be improved? I think it could. It drifted for a while. I think it's getting better now, but it did drift for a while. We did a survey in a district in County Down of 23 lodges. We looked at divided the lodges into two groups. I want you all to think about this. We're divided. If you remember one thing that I have said today, please remember this. We divided the lodges into two groups. We did this about 2 years ago. So we looked at divided the lodges into one group was the group that just have lodge meetings. Don't have anything else. Don't have any dances or bus trips or barbecues or anything. Just have the lodge meetings. And the other group were the lodges that do have other activities other than the lodge meetings. Bus trips, old time dancing be quite popular around our area. Barbecues. Some of them have big screen televisions now in the Orange Halls and they show football matches. Get the young lads in where they can have the atmosphere of a larger group of people watching a football match, but not having to go in a pub and having an alcohol-free atmosphere. Bus trips, barbecues, they do all sorts of things. Nearly every lodge does a different thing, you know. And so we looked at their figures. So what we found was this: the group of lodges that do nothing, only the lodge meetings, in 10 years, their membership had declined by 26%. The other group of lodges that have extra activities, their membership had increased by 2%. So there's a lesson there for everybody. And the lesson's about leadership, because we need leaders in every lodge. We need leaders at every level of the institution. Not people who just sit in office, just have the lodge meetings, go home, do nothing more. Leadership's about a lot more than that. We need people who will be workers and organise activity. But most of all, we need those activities delivered so that people will engage, that they'll come to our halls for their social life, their social activities, that will have good standard halls, that are thinking about having a birthday party, will think about going to the Orange Hall rather than going to a local hotel. That's relevant. Staying relevant is very, very important to us. I want to finish just with mention one thing again about the Covenant, which a couple of people have mentioned already. There's the Covenant parade's going to, now we've got the 12th over, the Covenant parade on the 29th of September is going to come more on the agenda. So our parade's going to be on Saturday the 29th of September from the centre of Belfast out to Stormont. Anybody care to guess how many miles it is? Any guesses, anybody? That's for Adrian? 7 miles. I measured it about 2 weeks ago. I drove because there's this awful rumour going around about how long the walk is, and we couldn't walk that far. It's all uphill, you know, up to Stormont. But I drove about 2 weeks ago I drove from the front gates of Stormont to the back gate of City Hall, and it was 3.8 miles. 3.8 miles. So the walk's not just as long as all the routes. Now, a wee bit longer than that, but you have to get from maybe Sandy Road to the City Hall, not sure where you're collecting. And at the Stormont, you have to get to the gates up the thing, which I don't think is a mile long now. But you'll not even notice that bit to be so many people there and so much activity. You'll be at such a high, that so excited the time you get there, you'll not even notice that last mile. On the 29th of September, I'll tell you this wee bit first. There's been a wee bit of kind of documentary work done and talk shows and things that have been on. And I did one recently. This is about how you can kind of, how the media, I suppose, and how some nationalist historians will twist things. But I did one recently, a radio show, and there was a nationalist historian there, I won't name him, a nationalist historian on it. And his big line was, you know, there was another covenant. Not everybody signed the covenant. There was another covenant against home rule. And 3,000 people signed it. And this was him putting it over, you know, not everybody supported home rule. But to me, that confirmed how important the covenant was and how much widespread support it had. Because people actually had a choice. They could sign the covenant against home rule. 471,000 signed that. There was a conservative one saying, we don't necessarily think this is right, we might want home rule for Protestants to sign. Only 3,000 people signed that. Now that's less, I calculate roughly, less than 2/3 of 1% of people signed the alternative covenant. So what that shows actually is that the Protestant community, more than 99% of people supported what was in the covenant. And so that degree of unanimity, to me, someone who's, I'm 55, through all these troubles, I suppose I've only ever known really division within our community. And so that degree of unanimity is something that it would be just, I mean, there's no point beating around the bush, that would be impossible to achieve now. Impossible. But there's still a degree of unanimity about certain things, and we'll have to try and build on that. And one of the ways we have to do this, on the 29th of September coming here, just a few Saturdays away, it's not far away, 100 days, 100 years and 1 day after the covenant was signed, there's going to be this parade in Belfast. And there'll be a lot of people watching this parade. They'll be watching it in Whitehall, they'll be watching it in Westminster, they'll be watching it in Leinster House in the south, they'll be watching it in police headquarters, they'll be watching it in security service headquarters in Holywood Barracks, Palace Barracks in Holywood. They'll be watching it in the Northern Ireland office. They'll be watching it in the Anglo-Irish Secretariat. And they'll all be taking a careful note. And they'll be making their conclusions. And I hope they don't conclude that the will has gone out of our people, the will to maintain the Union. Because to me, this is an opportunity for us to demonstrate our commitment to the continuance of the Union. And so I would appeal to you today. I know there'll be brethren who'll say, what's the point in going that parade? We've been in our district church parade, we've been in our county parade, we've been in the 12th, what do we need another parade for? But to me, this one that's coming up on the 29th of September is more important even than today. It is very important that we have a good turnout. So please, particularly the people on the platform, but also everyone out there, you go back to your lodges, your districts. You may not have a district meeting before that, but you need to be, in my opinion, we're calling a special district meeting to talk about it. But it's important to get that message out, that there'll be a lot of people watching us on the 29th of September, and we have to show them that we are still an organisation with a unity of purpose and with a determination to stand what we have always stood for. Brother Chairman, thank you very much. Delighted to be here, and such good weather. I can't believe I live in a farm in County Down, and believe me, you couldn't win to our fields today. Thank you.